I've chosen two models, and this particular lady has had what we call texturizing through the perimeter of the hair. I'm going to change that a little.
Alan, will you tell them about your school? Let me just say something about
Sure.
Alan. Alan and I go back. We're 120 years of hairdressing together. You realize that? That's scary.
Me 20, you 100, right?
But Alan, I mean, you have no idea who's standing in front of you. Alan is still is, but one of the top Sassoon hairdressers in the world. Just to understand, this isn't just a Sassoon teacher coming and teaching you. This is the guy teaching you. When you're learning this type of technique, so different what I've taught you and everything, that's why it's exciting for me to bring this to you, because it's so the opposite of me. And by combining it all together, it's only going to make you guys tremendous hairdressers.
That's
but
right.
You must, I mean, really watch what he's doing, and you know, this is a very exciting day for me to see somebody, because Alan and I have done shows together for so many years, that are always on either end and never watching each other. So to watch him and hear so much about it, and he's owned a school for many. Tell him about your school just a little bit.
Well, thanks, Alan. You're a sweetheart, and I love you a lot. You know that. Absolutely. I've admired you for years and respect you tremendously in what you've been doing. My school, I started with Vidal Sassoons, opened their first advanced academy in San Francisco before they brought it down to Los Angeles. But I found the language, as I said, by going to the dictionary while I was at Sassoons, and I wanted to offer it up as the language for Sassoons. But it means a lot of egos would be disrupted because they'd have to come back to school and relearn, and they didn't want to do that. So I said, well, I have to leave because this is the language. So I left and started a school actually in Tarzana first, and then went into Encino, and I had two salons here, and it was called Obius at the time. And then we went bankrupt, misappropriated the funds, spent more than we had, so we went bankrupt. I don't mind telling you these stories. And due to that, I ended up actually on a park bench down in El Toro, where I slept there on a park bench with my dog, my German Shepherd dog, for 10 days, because I didn't have first and last and the security deposit. And so, and yet I got a job going to teach people how to be successful. So I would get up early in the morning and get into the toilet and do my brush down, put my suit on and go to work. Take my dog and put him in the truck and go out and let him out every now and again, bless his heart. And while I was there, by the way, a little Spanish lady would poke her head over the fence in the park, and she'd go, "Oiga, oiga." I went over to her and she gave me a tortilla with some egg and chorizo in it, and a cup of coffee and a cookie for my dog. Every morning for 10 days she did that. She didn't say anything, she couldn't speak much in English, and I was worse at Spanish. And I really felt good for her doing that, because no one wanted me at that time. Anyway, I went off and started up Arbor Academy, where I started to really propel the method there. And my academy was in Cerritos. And Cerritos was an area like near Artesia, I suppose it was, but it was surrounded by 5 airports and 4 freeways. That's why I chose that particular area to do it. And I borrowed $50,000 and opened up the academy. And then I started to really progress, and I had people coming from all over, from Japan and Sweden, and I started to really do it by word of mouth. In fact, Paul Mitchell hired me as their first specialized education consultant, where all of them went through, even the masters had to go through my academy. And then I started a product line in 1988 called Arbor Pure and Natural Hair Care. ABB, A was Allen Benfield Bush Academy. And then I sold it in '97. And I thought, I'll go back and see that little Spanish lady to show what I'd done from the park bench. And I went back there. It's a little touching, excuse me. And she was there, but she was divorced, had 4 children. And she was in nearly foreclosure with her house. So I bought her a house for a cup of coffee. She was a marvelous lady. Paid for it. And I admired her so much, so I bought a house. I put $100,000 in the bank for her kids to go to college, and paid off all her credit cards, so she had a fair start again. So that cup of coffee meant the world to me. So it's not how much, it's what you do with it that counts. And that cup of coffee was priceless to me. So really I didn't do anything big. In fact, I got more out of it than she did. She got the house and she was crying a lot, but I felt good, you know. My ego was stroked, so I felt really good about that. But anyway, yes, I started the academy there, and it was really taking off when I had the school in Cerritos. And it made me a fortune. I used to take $1.5 million a year just with my big mouth. Teaching, and I trained up a lot of students from there and took them from beauty school, put them on the floor, trained them, and made a modular salon inside the academy. I was open 7 days a week, 4 evenings a week, and I was unsupported by a product line. I was unsupported by a salon. It was all education. I was the first advanced academy of that caliber in the United States at the time. And now everyone's got an academy everywhere, which is great because it's very important. And thanks, Alan, for bringing it up. I didn't mean to make it a big, long story, but I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So anyway, so the academy was a big success, and that's why I know that I have the language. I want to make this language the official language of our industry, so that we can all share our art form together as one, rather than the argumentative things we had. There are creative ways, as Alan said. He has one way of approaching it, and I have the other way of approaching it. But really, they are approaches that we still do the same thing. Alan still has to do length, width, and depth the same as I do, same as you do. We have to pick the hair up, we have to pull it somewhere, and we have to cut the sucker off with something, a broken milk bottle, if you like. It doesn't matter as long as you've got a holster to put it in, right? So, yes, we all approach it from different directions in different ways. And that was my academy. I approached it from a geometric standpoint, precision cutting. But of course, we got into texturizing and slithers and slicing, and with razors and all sorts of tools. And as I say, a broken milk bottle, you can do it with. If your fingernails were sharp enough, you could do it with those, couldn't you?
You still have the academy?
No, I do not. I do not have the academy. I sold that when I started the product line so that I could take the academy on tour around the United States. And now I'm doing this with COLURE, going around to all the distributorships and doing these kinds of classes so that I can touch the hairdressers in a personal way everywhere I can go. And thank God for the product line, because that really helps me be able to do that. Okay? But if you do want me to come to the academy, I'll always arrange a place where we can always go and do it, and do advanced and keep doing it as much as possible. In fact, I'm working with Amy Edwards right now and a few other affiliates out of COLURE, where we're working on doing condensed coloring, condensed highlighting, where you can do a whole head of highlights with 6 foils. Do not waste time. Do not spend an hour cutting hair. As Alan says, get them in and get them out. And that's right. It should take you around 15 to 20 minutes. Application of cutting, application of color, and application of a perm. I can get a whole head of curl with 5 rods. It's not the amount of rods, it's not the amount of foils, it's knowing where to put them that counts to make the results what you want them to be. So we are continuing the education within this method in other aspects, setting as well, everything. Okay? All right, back to work. All right, and this particular lady, I thought what I would show you is the geometric line, but with volumetrics convexity. This lady has it shorter in the front and longer towards the back. I find most hairdressers, when they're cutting hair, seem to want to stand in the front and bring all the hair into this area and cut out this way. Well, that takes it out of the edge of the front of the side, out of the edge, front of the side, and so therefore the length swings to the back. Well, she has more length at the back, simply there's more volume of hair growing, so it really just frames the shoulder blades. I will bring it up at the back, not a lot, but I will bring it up so that it gives more volume towards the front to frame her beautiful face. But first of all, I want to do volumetrics convexity. Volumetrics convexity is to put what we call layering or gradation into the hair in a way that you're not taking out the density of the hair. If you're doing hair this way, which most of us do, I'm not condemning this, I'm explaining it, okay? Most of us do it this way and try to go that way. right? Texturizing or slide or slither, whatever you fancy doing. This is a geometric form of cutting, but you're really in volumetrics up here, and that means you're going against the law of gravity, but you're still away from the head shape. Now, if you look at this hair I'm holding, the head shape is this. The head is a convex object. It's not concave unless you've been hit with a baseball bat. So it's a convex object, and you're pulling it off of a convex object. Will you get the same shape as that? No, because this hair has to travel further to the cutting position. This hair out here has to travel further to the cutting position. The strands in the middle are shorter. Why? Because of the curvature of the head. So that means you're really concave cutting. You're actually taking out maximum density and not realizing it. We're doing the opposite. Because why? We're going to the opposite of the head. But when the hair lays down upon the head shape, wherever it touches the head, you take on the surface area onto the gradation. That is called volumetrics, convexity, or you can do it in geometrics, and you know we all do that with our bobs. We're combing the hair around the head shape, we cut it down with a hard line, but when we let go it curves in a convex manner and cups towards the head. That's because it touched the head shape. And you've all done that, right? Yes? Yeah. Oh, okay.